8. Faven K. In early 2021, a Las Vegas news anchor found herself gracing the headlines rather than presenting them. Faven Kefley-Georgis, better known as Faven K, is a well-known anchor, reporter, and journalist who delivers the news on weekday mornings for Fox 5 Las Vegas, KVVU. But on March 20th, she spent the early hours of her day off very differently. When police found her naked and passed out behind the wheel of her Audi, she seemed disoriented and reportedly said that she didn't know how she ended up on the street where her car was found. Officers said that she stumbled and smelled of alcohol when she exited the vehicle, but she declined to submit her blood for an alcohol test. They charged Kay with reckless driving and a disregard for the safety of a person or property. A judge fined her $1,000 and ordered her to attend driving school. A few weeks later, KVVU aired a statement from Kay, in which she said, "Many of you have noticed I've been off air for a few weeks." She went on to explain the nature of her arrest and said, "As I move forward, I want you to know I have learned from this and I will continue learning." Kay made an impressive comeback from the incident. She even managed to keep her job. Her colleagues and supporters were happy to see her return, and she was nominated for 3 Emmys last year. 7. Ellen DeGeneres. For years, Ellen DeGeneres has been a mainstay of American media with a reputation as a pioneering, successful lesbian in a world that not too long ago would have never allowed her to rise to stardom due to her sexuality. She was perhaps most famous for her quick-witted humor and her belief in being kind to everyone. But Ellen was allegedly far less likable off-air. Shortly after the COVID-19 pandemic began in 2020, crew members complained of a toxic work environment filled with racism, intimidation, and fear. There were also allegations of sexual harassment in the workplace. And while many of the accusations didn't point the finger directly at Ellen, it called into question why she would let any of that behavior go on behind the scenes of her show. Warner Media launched an investigation into the claims, which Ellen adamantly denied. In the meantime, members of the public who have crossed paths with the talk show host came forward in a viral Twitter thread detailing their horrifying experiences. One waitress who said she served Ellen in the morning after working late claimed that she nearly lost her job because Ellen complained about her chipped nail polish, which she didn't have time to fix between shifts. Numerous people claiming to be former employees said that they were banned from making eye contact with or greeting Ellen, and one man said he was fired for harassing her after asking which floor she was going to when she entered an elevator. While many of these claims are unproven, they mark the beginning of the end for the Ellen DeGeneres Show. She apologized publicly and to her staff, but the damage was done. Ellen announced late last year that her show was ending after airing for nearly 20 years. 6. Brian Williams. Brian Williams is one of the most famous American news anchors today. He had a very successful career that went unblemished for over 2 decades, but it all came crashing down in 2015. Williams had been working as the chief anchor of NBC Nightly News for nearly a decade when he aired a segment honoring a sergeant major who he claimed saved his life in Iraq in 2003. According to the story, which Williams had told numerous times over the years, he was part of an NBC News team that was aboard a helicopter when it was hit by an RPG, rocket-propelled grenade. A U.S. Army platoon came to the rescue and surrounded the team, sparing them from further harm. But the story turned out to be a big fat lie. Some soldiers who were in the helicopter that was hit took to social media, stating that they didn't remember Williams or an NBC crew being on the aircraft. That's because he was on another helicopter, which arrived on the scene an hour after the incident. Williams promptly recanted the story and apologized, but by then he'd opened up a can of worms. The world was watching, and many military members and veterans were outraged. The disgraced news anchor blamed a foggy memory and issued an apology, more or less claiming that he had accidentally implanted a false memory in his mind. While many find the excuse questionable at best, it was apparently enough to spare Williams' career from being completely ruined. He was suspended without pay for 6 months and began hosting his own news program, The 11th Hour with Brian Williams, upon his return. Late last year, he announced that he's leaving NBC after a 28-year career. Why do you think Williams lied? Do you think his career would have turned out differently if he told the truth? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to hit subscribe if you haven't already. 5. Whoopi Goldberg. Created by Barbara Walters in 1997 and now in its 25th season, The View is one of the most watched programs on daytime television. It's also one of the most controversial, with members of its all-woman panel of hosts having made numerous headlines over the years. The show found itself under fire yet again recently over some comments that host Whoopi Goldberg made during a discussion about a Tennessee school district's decision to ban Maus, a graphic novel depicting the atrocities of the Holocaust. The McMinn County Board of Education decided to remove the book from its curriculum due to rough, objectionable language and a drawing of a nude woman. Host Joy Behar commented that the move was likely motivated by ulterior motives to eliminate history lessons that made white people look bad. Goldberg replied by repeatedly stating that the Holocaust isn't about race, and describing the Holocaust as white people doing it to white people. So y'all gonna fight amongst yourselves. The Anti-Defamation League, the U.S. Holocaust Museum, and other Jewish organizations criticized Goldberg's distasteful remarks. In a tweet, Anti-Defamation League CEO Jonathan Greenblatt described the comments as dangerous and Holocaust distortion. Goldberg promptly apologized via Twitter, acknowledging Goldblatt's statement that the Holocaust was about the Nazis' systematic annihilation of the Jewish people, who they deemed to be an inferior race. She said that Jewish people around the world have always had her support, and that she's sorry for any hurt she caused. 4. Chris Cuomo. Chris Cuomo is both a well-known journalist and the brother of former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, who resigned from his position last year amid allegations of sexual harassment. The scandal led to suspicions that Chris helped his brother stave off the allegations in ethically questionable ways relating to his job as a CNN anchor. He ultimately lost his job over the matter, although the details were kept mostly hidden from the public. According to a statement from CNN, the company decided to fire Chris due to new information that had surfaced about his role in aiding Governor Cuomo's fight to prove his innocence. To add to the drama, Chris soon faced accusations of sexual harassment from a former colleague at ABC News. Speaking on Chris Cuomo's behalf, spokesperson Stephen Goldberg said that the anonymous allegations against the anchor were untrue. He added that Cuomo stands by previous statements he had made about how he cares deeply about sexual assault and other issues revolving around his brother's scandal. Goldberg also suggested that the person who complained about the journalist in a bid to see him punished unfairly by CNN. But the suspicion that Chris Cuomo was engaging in shady journalism tactics was hardly new, and his coworkers were supposedly concerned for quite some time that he was jeopardizing the network's credibility. For some time, he had collaborated with his brother's political aides behind the scenes in ways that were arguably beneficial to the governor, and he reportedly did this with the support of CNN's president, Jeff Zucker. In some people's opinions, it wasn't until widespread attention was drawn to these arguably immoral strategies that it seemed to become a problem. But Cuomo took it too far when he allegedly advised Andrew on his public statements and tried digging up information on pending articles from other news sources. 3. James Corden. British-born comedian James Corden has been hosting The Late Late Show on CBS since 2015. During a segment called Spill Your Guts, Corden and his celebrity guests ask each other difficult and embarrassing questions. The participant has the option to either answer the question or eat from an array of foods that Corden often describes as gross and horrifying. For example, he asked Justin Bieber, "You performed all over the world. Which country has the worst fans?" Not surprisingly, the pop singer decided to drink a shrimp and chili pepper smoothie rather than anger an entire nation's worth of admirers. It became clear last year that not everyone is amused by Spill Your Guts. A Change.org petition accused Corden of ridiculing traditional Asian foods like century egg, balut, which is a fertilized bird egg, and chicken feet. The campaign was started by a Filipina and Chinese-American TikToker named Kim Saira, who told NBC that she recalled eating many of the delicacies featured on the segment as a child and felt confused because the foods have sentimental value to her. She pointed out in the petition that this type of content encourages anti-Asian racism, especially at a time when hate crimes against Asian Americans are on the rise. Corden told Howard Stern that the show would no longer use traditional Asian foods in the segment, adding, "Our show is a show about joy and light and love. We don't want to make a show to upset anybody." And while he had dedicated a portion of his show to speaking out against anti-Asian hate in the past, and was credited with helping to reignite the Asian American civil rights movement, he failed to publicly apologize for the Spill Your Guts controversy, leaving Saira and others disappointed. 2. Wendy Williams. Matima Miller, better known as Swavy, was a famous TikToker from Wilmington, Delaware, with nearly 3 million followers. But the 19-year-old entertainer never got to see how far his talent could take him because he was shot to death outside his home in broad daylight last year. His mother, Chanel Clark, witnessed his excruciating final moments. 2 days after the murder, Wendy Williams announced Swaby's death during the Hot Topics segment of her talk show, but not before making a handful of comments that left many viewers feeling shocked and appalled. When the teen's picture appeared on the screen, Williams said, "I have no idea who this person is. Neither does one person in the building." She then described Swavy as a TikTok star with more followers than her. A producer chimed in about how Williams is more popular than Swavy on Instagram. The bizarre commentary went on for over a minute before she finally announced the young star's death. To make matters worse, she seemed confused about the details, repeatedly asking the producer if Miller was the person who died. Outraged viewers accused Williams of being classless, demeaning, and disrespectful to the deceased. Swavy's mother was also deeply offended. Speaking with CBS3, she said, "As a mother, Wendy Williams, how dare you?" 1. Piers Morgan. British journalist Piers Morgan has had a highly successful career working in the UK and abroad. In 2015, he became a co-host on the morning program Good Morning Britain. He was on his 6th season last year when he found himself in hot water over some comments he made about Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex and wife to Prince Harry. During a CBS interview with Oprah Winfrey, Markle talked about how her mental health deteriorated after entering royal life. She said, "I just don't want to be alive anymore," and that she was driven to self-harm by character assassination. When she was pregnant with her and Harry's son, Archie, Royal insiders allegedly told the couple that there were concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he is born. Piers Morgan said that he didn't believe a word that the Duchess said regarding her suicidal thoughts and mental health. His commentary was met with immediate backlash from outraged viewers, who flooded the show's network with over 41,000 complaints overnight. An investigation was launched, but Morgan decided to leave his position on his own accord. He wrote in a tweet that freedom of speech is a hill I'm happy to die on, and I'm off to spend more time with my opinions. Meanwhile, parent company ITV released a statement confirming the anchor's departure and saying it had nothing to add on the matter. Speaking with Fox News journalist Tucker Carlson, Morgan unapologetically defended his views, stating, "I just find that impossible to believe that you would have two people in the palace who would be that callous to a woman telling them that she was suicidal." He criticized Meghan and Harry for not giving the names of the people they accused of mistreating them and denied that he was racist, simply stating, "I just don't believe her." Thanks for watching. Can you think of any other TV presenters that belong on a list like this? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time. Bye.